everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Annie and this is Tentative Tarot. Thank you so much for being here. So today we are going to do a reading about what your spirit would like to tell you. You may take this however you want. In fact, you may take it as what spirit, with a more capital S, wants to tell you. But my intention is to sort of speak from it in the sense of kind of the energy, the life force moving through you. You know, if you think of it in the sense of the suits of the tarot, and the minor arcana, like the wand suit. So if you'd rather see it that way, you can see it as what does the fire spirit want to tell you? What do the wands want to tell you? Whatever it is, but I will probably refer to it as your spirit. So at any rate, we have 3 piles for you to choose from today. For pile number 1, we have this piece of green Jasper. Oh, it doesn't want to focus. Sad day. If I get closer? Worse, better, worse? Well, fine. It's a piece of green Jasper, you just have to believe it. For pile number 2, this piece of Labradorite, which is giving some great flash on camera, so that I guess makes up for that. And then for pile number 3, we have this piece of green Jade. So if you need more time to choose which pile you are most drawn to today, you can go ahead and pause the video, but whenever you are ready, the timestamps will be down in the description box and the pinned comment, so you can click on the link that matches your reading, and I will see you there. Hey, pile number 1, if you chose this piece of green Jasper, welcome to your reading. Let's get started with these 2 pre-shuffled oracle cards. For the first one, we have number 1. No, I'm so sorry. That's an L, so it's number 50. I just couldn't see at this angle. The Ram and Dahlia with the keyword determination. And then we have this card, Visions. Sorry, I'm obviously not seeing like where to place the cards for the close-up here. Okay. What is it that your spirit is wanting to tell you? Okay. The message that I'm getting is that what your spirit is trying to tell you is that it wants you to focus. Like not so much focus on being determined, but like be determined with your focus, as it were, on visions that you're getting. This could be actually like in some sort of psychic sense, but it certainly doesn't have to be. I'm seeing it more in like a dream sense, like not, I'm sorry, see, I gotta be more specific here. Not in your sleeping dreams, but in like your goals, your visions for the future. And I'm getting this sense that, like, it's not that you don't have goals and aims for the future, but there's something that you're being pointed towards and feeling a lot of passion towards that I suspect that you, like, it seems too fantastical or something like that. And whether it is or not, right now, I mean, we'll see more with what the tarot says, but I'm not wanting to comment on. It might be different for everybody, or that might just not be the point here. I think the message that I'm getting, though, is your spirit wants you to focus on your passion and, like, learn more about it, get to know it, let it open up your mind a little bit. There's something about its beauty. There's something about how good you feel when you embrace or engage with that passion and the way that it could bloom in your life that I think you're being asked to focus on here. I also get the sense that there's something that your spirit is wanting you to initiate, like with the ram, thinking of Aries energy and like initiatory energy and how I thought it was a number one. Of course I thought it was a number one. I'm an Aries, I would do that. But the point is, I think like it's possible again if whatever you are envisioning seems too fantastic, too much, like too surreal to come true. I think what your spirit is wanting to say is, well, we could take the first step. We could like see what one thing makes us feel excited and just do that. Like we don't have to have a whole plan. We don't have to, it doesn't have to unfold the way we're seeing it in our dreams. Like we could just take one step towards what lights us up and see what happens. Like learn as we go. Yeah. So if that feels like something you want to hear about, or if that resonates for you, we're gonna do a Celtic cross. I've been working on a modified version of it. Thank you, Ace of Wands, for showing yourself. And we're gonna just take a deeper look into the message your spirit is trying to convey to you right now. Let's go for pile number 1. Okay. Just make sure these are all in frame before I start flipping. I get these all. I know they're not straight up and down, but what can you do? But we have everybody else, right? Oh, good. That's impressive. Okay. On the bottom of the deck, we have the Hermit. I love this. For some reason, this Jasper reminds me of a turtle shell with the colors, so we got a turtle here too. And a fire with a fire. Everybody's happy. Okay. The bottom of the deck usually represents for me the chapter that is currently or is recently closed for you. So seeing the Hermit here, that doesn't surprise me. Like there's something you've been spending time looking inside, focusing on your own light, keeping this passion energy probably just for you. And I wonder if it's kind of like, okay, let's focus on bringing that out into the world and initiating something externally. So for what it is you've been focused on, like your energy's focused towards, we have got the 8 of Cups. I mean, clearly the 8 of Cups talks about leaving something behind. Like, I shouldn't say clearly, traditionally. Often those cups are upright, they're fine. They're just like not fulfilling to the person in question, and so they are trying to walk away. Here we get broken cups. Some of them have fallen over. Some of them are barely cups at all. This makes me wonder if like what you've been focusing on is like really spending time alone, because you're like, oh, all these things around me that I thought fulfilled me, they're not good. They're not doing it. These are not the thing. And so you've really been focused on releasing this. I would say probably focus on cutting emotional ties, seeing things clearly, doing emotional healing. But I think the biggest thing I'm seeing is cutting emotional ties. That could just be internally for you, within your own heart, in therapy, in your journal, whatever it is. But that could also be like actually literally leaving things in your life. Or it can be both, of course. But whatever the case, I think you've been trying to get your emotional energy back. Yeah, and not giving to situations that were obviously not giving back to you. Okay. Like, couldn't decide which way I was going to turn this up. For the energy that feels like it's causing tension here, you've got the 7 of Cups. I wonder if, because your focus has been so trained on like severing emotional ties, what feels disconcerting is that you don't know what you want to do with that emotional energy instead, that you're kind of in that space. That can be a comfortable space because you're kind of daydreaming and kind of like, well, if my life could be anything, what would it be? Or like, what brings me joy? Or, you know, things like this. Reminiscing on the past, like what made me happy before this other garbage. I'm not calling anybody in your life garbage, to be clear. Just those classes look like they need to be in the garbage, literally. But it can also be disconcerting if you're kind of like, well, I'm walking away, but what am I walking towards? There can be, like, this card can sometimes be an invitation to, like, get clarity on that. Like, what is it that I'm choosing? Like, what is this one cup? Like, in this deck, it's actually, like, really illustrated that way, where you see there are 6 upright cups, but with the moon, like, you're kind of unclear. And here you've got that one upright cup with the sun. So it's like, oh, you've chosen, you know, what it is that you're going to walk towards. And it's interesting because I was like struggling to know which way to put it. I mean, it's sideways, so there's that. But I think that's a message for you. I think it's kind of that you might be in both energies in a sense, but there's this tension around, what do I choose? Can I trust myself to choose it? Is it the right thing for me? These kinds of things. And that's making it maybe harder to walk away from things. I don't know if that's because, like, for example, sometimes when you're in a space and you're healing and you're changing, right? Like, especially if you've been in a hermit space, there are relationships that you walk away from because the way that you were going about the relationship was problematic for you. Like, it would, like, for example, in my own life, when I went through a really intense hermit phase, I mean, I'm not convinced I'm out of it, but when it started, there were a lot of people in my life who I have in my life now and have really healthy relationships with, and probably did then too. But I was realizing patterns in myself about, like, kind of the approval I wanted from people, or how personally I took certain things that they said and did, and things like this, and like overanalyzed, you know, what they were saying to me or how they were saying it, and did they like me, and were they going to abandon me, and like that was all to do with wounding and like nothing to do with them. So, like, if this were my reading, right, like, I could say, like, okay, like, I've been so focused on walking away from my own patterns and habits that I'm, like, now having a hard time seeing, like, what is actually healthy for me, but that's what I'm being invited to do. Like, I'm thinking right now of, like, a really good group of friends, actually, who, I mean, it didn't, like, walk away from them, but I had a harder time engaging with them consistently, like, when I was in a hermit phase, and now they're, like, some of my closest friends that I talk to frequently and trust with everything. And a lot of the things that maybe gave me pause however many years ago, I still notice them, but I engage with the energy really differently, if that makes sense. So anyway, blah, blah, blah. Hopefully that was a helpful message. Somebody needed to hear that. But the point is, you probably feel like, am I walking away from the right things? Well, what is it I actually want? What am I walking towards? Can any of this be salvaged? I think that's probably what's going on here. Okay, the way that you are trying to integrate this energy, oh, fascinating, subconsciously, is the Devil card here. I'm actually not seeing this in a negative sense in this case. What I'm seeing is that that's what this passion is. There's passion coming up in you, and it's saying, like, hey, we're going to tell you. We're going to tell you what you're actually attached to. And I know the Devil typically represents unhealthy attachment. In this case, I'm seeing it as healthy attachment. I mean, if it resonates for you as unhealthy, that is what it is. But in my mind, if Spirit is encouraging something, it's telling you, hey, your subconscious is working on your behalf. I don't think it's telling you that it's working on your behalf to cause you addiction problems. I think what's happening here is your subconscious is trying to tell you what it is that fills your cup by showing you passion, like by showing you through feelings of passion. And that might be uncomfortable because, you know, when you're in a walking away from a lot of things space, when you're in a hermit space, a lot of passion gets, I don't want to say shut down, but like funneled back to yourself. And so feeling this, like, I want to share some of this, I want to engage with people in this way or with things in this way or whatever it is, it might be scary to feel that again. And I think you're being invited to see that as actually, like, information, like seeds that are being planted to tell you which cups to choose. Yeah, that makes total sense. Okay, so the next thing we're looking at is kind of like what patterns and habits from the past are making it hard to trust in this. And the answer to that is the Five of Cups. Sadness, heartbreak, things that you've lost, friendships that you've lost, love that you've lost, people that have let you down, emotional disappointments, jobs that didn't work out, you know, whatever it is, things in your life that made you sad, that you had a lot of love for, found a lot of emotional fulfillment in. And I think kind of knowing that you've had to do a lot of healing here in the past, and you've had your heart broken before, I could absolutely see why it's like, well, I'm not sure I want to be giving my heart to anything right now. I'm going to keep all that emotional energy for myself. Yeah. The beauty of this position as well is, as much as that's like something that's holding you back, it's also a skill that you've developed. So seeing it in this past position, right? Like, this is something that you have healed. This is something that you have taken the time to see, to look at. And, you know, in the traditional Rider-Waite imagery, like, there are 2 cups behind the person that, like, when they've done the healing of the 3 cups that are spilled, they can turn around and say, like, oh, okay, like, not only does love still exist, and I mean that in any kind of love with any kind of person or thing for you, but it's like reciprocated, right? Like, the world is a loving place. So this is something telling me that you have done a lot of the grieving and healing work, and you are ready to open your heart again and have that energy be reciprocated. But I could understand, like, when you're coming out of a healing phase, that can be really like a challenging thing to walk towards. Okay, but what intention will help you do that? Like, what are you consciously sitting with? And we've got the Chariot here, and I cannot help but realize you've got like the Sun, which, if you hold this in the reverse position where you have clarity on what fills your cup, you've got the Sun there. And we're getting that as well here with the Chariot. You've also got the, you know, like reversed pentagram and the upright here. What you're doing, what you're asserting to yourself to like help deal with this is forward movement. And being major arcana here, I mean, balancing out the devil, interestingly, forward movement toward your happiness. Like, I think it's this reminder that, like, no, we're doing what makes us happy. That was the whole point of this letting go. That was the whole point of the hermit mode, right? That was the whole point of doing the healing, is we're moving towards our happiness. We're moving towards things that fill our cup. We're going to do it no matter what. And I think that can maybe feel like it's in tension with this, you know, sadness and maybe these like tender places where, yeah, you've done the healing, but you know, they haven't quite healed all the way over yet. So I think if you can be gentle with yourself and say, like, yeah, I can move forward, and I can also do it at a pace that feels comfortable for me and takes into account what I've been through, I think that would probably like allow this tension to be less. And it looks like the choice that's going to help you do that. We've got the Mother or the Queen of Pentacles here. I want to say caring for your body, listening to the wisdom of your body. I want to say really monitoring like your visceral responses to things. I wonder if you're somebody where like being in your emotional body is easier or more comfortable or just more habitual than being in your physical body, if you will. I don't know about anybody else, but for me, they seem so conflated so often that it's hard for me to differentiate sometimes. But I think what this is kind of saying is like, as much as you can, the choice that's being presented to you is to say like, will I choose things that give me energy, that put me at peace, that soothe my nervous system? There's passion that burns you out and causes heartbreak, and you get all excited about it, and then it's not what you hoped it would be. And then there's also passion that feeds you, that serves you, that's mutual, right? That, wow, my voice is really going. There's passion that helps give you energy to take care of yourself, right? And getting to know the difference between them is crucial, at least for those of us who are in Aries, but for everyone else too. And I think like what this is saying to me is your body will tell you when you're pushing too hard and not honoring like past pain, right? Your body will tell you if this passion is like in an addictive type way versus giving you information for what you want to do. Your body will tell you if you're burning too brightly, moving too quickly, and not honoring your energy, right? Like your needs. I think in this position, this is supposed to be a choice, like a life-shaping choice that you're making right now, and perhaps, I mean, in process or about to make, or perhaps this is just making conscious what you were already doing, but essentially you are being asked whether or not you will choose to listen to your body and care for and trust those messages, because you absolutely can. I mean, the fact that you have this queen here, like she is embodying this energy. And so if your kind of future position, if you will, is moving into this energy, like you absolutely have the skills to do this. So will you choose to like rely on those skills that you have to embody this with intention and to channel this passion through this lens? I think that's like what your spirit is asking you and inviting you to do. Or maybe your spirit is asking for this, but it's saying you can do this because you have this skill, because this is a huge part of who you are. All right, so how is that all integrating into fiery energy within you? With the Six of Swords. It could be travel. I know some people see this card like in a literal travel sense. It could be that. It absolutely could be that. Forward movement. Knowing that it's swords. And in this image, like I can't stop looking at this rainbow here. I think what's happening is that you're like trusting that there can be miracles after loss. The kind of it's darkest before the dawn, you know, or the like it poured rain and now there is a rainbow here. I think there's this idea that you're moving forward with the knowledge that life could be better. That yes, you've had to spend time alone. Yes, you've had to let go of a lot of things. Yes, you've had to grieve and mourn. But you can move forward with confidence. Because there is still sun. You do still have passion, fire, excitement, dreams. And you now have the skills to go after them in a way that's safe for you and like cares for you. Not in a way that's going to lead to like addiction or heartbreak. External energy that could feel like it's thwarting this potentially, or distracting you, whatever it might be, causing you fear, pain, anxiety, whatever. People just driving you nuts. We've got the Daughter of Cups, right? Or the Page of Cups here. This could literally be a person. It could literally be a child. I actually often associate this card with my kiddo. She's a Scorpio baby. So it certainly could be that. I mean, seeing this mama deer here, like, was making me think of that, actually. So it certainly could be that. This is not to say don't care for your child. Your child causes you anxiety, tell them to go away. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, set healthy boundaries. You know, take care of you as well. But I wonder whether, like, you are concerned about, like, whatever this is, I wonder if somehow you're concerned about the way it will impact this child, if it is a child, or it could be, like, a friend. It could be somebody older, like your age or older than you, but who's in this type of energy, like in this kind of shy, I want to say like vulnerably sharing emotions in a way they're not quite sure how to do, something like that. That energy. It can also be like a creative energy. I mean, all of the cups are that way, but I sort of have it in my mind coded. I associate that a bit more with the knight, but I'm thinking of it here with this kind of like the beginnings of creative ideas. It could be like other people inviting you to do creative things with them, but whatever it is, it's just occurred to me that, I mean, typically this is outside influence, but it could also be like like a part of yourself, that has this kind of like a younger part of yourself that has this sort of like, I don't know, are you sure? I'm sort of tentative. I'm sort of, I don't know how to move forward. And I'm seeing like the rainbow and the rainbow, right? Kind of like this hesitance about whether the rainbow is really there, whether I'm really the one making it happen, whether it's in my head, I don't know, something like that. Whatever the case, in this position, it's asking you to see this energy and see that it's either like you don't need to give it as much attention as you are, or that it's a fear that you're ready to overcome. So if you can look at this and say, this new love, this worry about my child, this potential creative project, this friend that's kind of, whatever it is, they might react a sort of way to the choices that I'm making. They might feel vulnerable about it. They might be, or it might not even be that. It might be like, for example, if all of this is about, let's say just like the way you're showing up in the world, and there's like some new love here, for example, like new romantic love. I mean, of course it does not have to be, but let's say that it is. And it could just be in page energy because it's new, right? And you're like you could have this impulse to return to 25, if that's meaningful to anybody. You could have this impulse to return to a kind of way you might have been in the past, like addictive type tendencies, passion in a way that could feel destructive or that like burns out quickly. You get all excited and then it fades away, or you focus too much on passion, and only say too much in the sense of like you ignore your other needs. You could also be feeling really tender because you've had your heart broken, right? And so like approaching this could be hard. All of that's really valid. I think the reason it's coming up in this position is to say, like, as much as you can, try not to fall back into these patterns. Try not to let this vulnerability distract you. Like, you have the ability to see this, to acknowledge this, part of yourself or the part of you that it's being activated by this energy in someone else. And you have the ability to like see it, hold it, be compassionate with it, and like not let it derail you, right? Because like you're moving somewhere, like you're moving towards your happiness, right? Towards your miracle, towards a different life for yourself. So whether or not this situation, person, whatever, is part of that or not, like you have the ability to figure that out. So you don't need to go back into whatever kind of patterns you were using in the past. You can see them as they come up and work through them, forgive yourself for them, incorporate them, whatever it is, integrate them into your personality, your heart, with compassion, and say, okay, I'm moving towards happiness. So is there a way I can engage with this energy that contributes to my new life? If not, then okay. If so, great. But either way, try not to let it derail you from moving forward. The lesson that you're learning is the Five of Pentacles. Absolutely. I think, this could be literal or otherwise. So I'm going to go kind of in a more psychological sense first, but hopefully I'll remember to return to a literal interpretation. I suspect you felt like you were in a place of lack, especially seeing all these cups. I'm going to think of that in an emotional sense. It is pentacles, right? So maybe you did not have romantic love in your life, like a partner that you wanted, friends that you wanted, or even just near you. Like I know for me, like a lot of my good friends live in other places. So like I have certainly felt in this energy before, just sad because I miss them. The lesson here is to say, I mean, it's okay, of course, to acknowledge this. But there's this kind of, I don't know, I guess I want to say like a warning of like, if you stay in that space of lack, I mean, acknowledge it, be sad when you're sad, and then hopefully move forward and know that you're like building a happier life for yourself. I mean, lots of cards are pointing towards that. That's something that's like a life of your dreams, right? So looking at, you know, for example, this energy here and saying like, oh, this isn't what I want it to be. This is derailing me in some sense. This is not, like, let's say if it's about love, right? This is not the full-blown romantic picture I had in my mind. This is a page. It's the beginning. It's something that hasn't fully fleshed itself out, right? But I want so much in my life. But it's to say, like, that's okay. Like, when you come from this place of lack, it's hard to not see certain things as problematic, whereas they actually might just be beginnings of things. And you'll only know that if you listen to your body. Like, listen to your passion, yes, but also listen to your body. Also, like, check your thoughts. Does this align with the future that I'm looking towards? Can I see this when I look forward into the future? Is this aligned? And if it is, great, right? Then that means that instead of seeing this as lack, you can see it as a new beginning, something that's starting slowly, starting small, starting with vulnerability, right? If it doesn't, then you can just release it and walk away, because you have that. If you have emotional investment in it, you can grieve it, right? But that won't stop you from moving forward. I think it's really assessing, like, what is it that you lack? Are you committed to building a life that allows you to have the things that you need? Because again, like, sometimes we don't have things, and sometimes we decide that they're crucial for our lives, right? And so then, like, trying to go after them is not wrong at all, right? Like, let the lack tell you what it wants you to do. But it's also saying, like, are there things that you think you lack that you actually don't? And I don't want to say that in a gaslighting way at all. I just know for myself, sometimes if I have my eye on something in particular I want, or a way that I want it to happen, when I don't have that thing yet, or that thing is not happening the way that I wanted it to happen, I can get into this energy really easily. And so it's not at all to say, well, it's wrong to want that thing. Or even, I mean, in a certain sense, like, it's not wrong to want it to happen in that way. Sort of, right? I mean, let that be nuanced, but I'm not going to go off on that right now. But the point is, it's not wrong to want certain things, to want certain experiences, to want a certain person, whatever. It's not. But the question is, like, are you, like, acknowledging the desire for it and letting that fuel you? Or are you, like, sitting in that pain and getting stuck and falling back into previous patterns? There's also something here with this red, right, and the passion I was talking about. I wonder if you felt a lack of passion. I mean, I was talking about that in the beginning. And I wonder if it's kind of saying, like, no, it's been there all the time. It's just been sort of hidden, sort of dormant, taking a nap, buried under the ground, as it were. And now it's ready to bloom again. And it, like, I think by telling a new story and committing to movement towards the way you want to feel happiness. This rainbow's made me think of the 10 of Cups. Like, emotional fulfillment is what you're after. So get clear on what that is. Let your dreams and your passions help you think about what that is. Let your body give you feedback on the experiences you have, the people that you interact with, the things, whatever. See if it feels good. If it does, like, let it unfold organically, as it were, because it's leading to that happiness for you. Like, your passion, your happiness, it will bloom again. And I think that's very much what you're being asked to learn from this. And the way that is likely to manifest for you, or the way you are likely to manifest that, the Son of Wands. So you got the Knight of Wands here. Ah, everybody loves to hate on the Knight of Wands. I deeply love the Knight of Wands, although I get it. I get it. He has a dark side sometimes. Because he's the sun. This is for you. This is you acting from a place of passion a bit. When I say a bit, I don't actually, I mean, the Knight of Wands is all passion. He's here for a good time, so maybe not a bit, but a bit in the way that I think you're doing it in a way that doesn't feel problematic. I made the joke in part about the quote-unquote dark side of the Knight of Wands because I think you're not in that energy. Let's reclaim this. What is the Knight of Wands doing here? The Knight of Wands is like seeing what it is that lights him up and like going towards it and learning lessons with a lot of intention. Some people see the Knights as embodying fire energy, but I actually don't. I see the Knights, like all of them from every suit, as embodying air. And I think that's because like there's an intellectual learning, like there's intention here. That doesn't mean everybody who's in Knight energy is wielding their intellect or their intention. But it is about the kind of stories you're telling yourself about it. So I think what you're grounding is sort of on-the-job learning about your passions and what you would like to do with them and what feels good and what doesn't. And that sounded suggestive in a way that I didn't mean it to, but you do you. I'm happy for you if that's part of your story. Whatever the case, you are figuring out what you want by trying things, by moving towards things and seeing how your body reacts. And I think that's a beautiful thing. I think once you see that you don't have to stay in the space of lack, you can grieve things and then move forward. I just realized that I absolutely didn't speak about this in a literal material way. I'm going to assume that's because it wasn't meaningful. If it is to you, please adjust the messages in that way. I think what it's saying is if you make a concerted effort to move forward toward your happiness, you try your best to engage with people in a way that honors their vulnerability but does not take on responsibility for it or let it distract you or help you or, encourage you to fall back into problematic patterns. And I call them problematic, like thinking that's your words, not mine. You do you. And you learn this lesson that actually you don't lack all of the things that you think that you do lack. In the sense that if you are working towards them and moving towards them, they're yours, right? In a sense, you are moving towards them. They are in process for you. I think that will help you take inspired action or learn which of your actions are inspired and which ones aren't, right? The message from your spirit is get to know me. The message from your spirit is I'm trying to talk to you. I know you're scared of being addicted to me. I get it. But I am giving you a lot of wisdom. And when you engage with me intellectually, physically, emotionally, you will be able to learn to be in this fire energy in a way that's comfortable for you. When you're learning, it can be uncomfortable. And I get it, fire is dangerous. Okay? When you're first learning about it, it can be destructive. But I think you know enough. I think you've done enough work. Oh, that's annoying. Okay? Well, it's 5 o'clock in case anybody needs to know that. Or maybe what I was saying was particularly important. You've done the work, and as long as you remind yourself that when you take a passionate action, do it from this grounded place. Check in with your body, how does this feel? Really, really, really get calm with yourself and ask how this feels, because I don't know about you, it's times for me when I'm all fired up about something, it's really hard for me to ground. So maybe taking extra time to do that. Make sure it's not devil energy in a problematic way. It's in a positive way. That's going to help you use this fire and get to know it in a way that's really healthy for you. Okay, so before we close out, I just want to take a second and do a quick count and see now that all the cards are turned over and we've looked at all of them, like how many we have of different things, whether there are patterns we should look at here. So I see that wand-wise we've got just the one, right? Cups, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Swords is 1, Pentacles is 2, and majors you've got 2, 3. So certainly cups were overwhelming this, which I think I actually had said offhand earlier, where this does seem to be deeply focused on your emotions. I was just pausing because I was thinking about like the water and fire together, which is making me giggle because my kiddo is like obsessed with the combination there. I think it's because she and I are a dynamic duo together with our fire and water. But I think it's meaningful to you as well, because I think there's this like, I wonder if like you have this story that you've told yourself that like the pain that you've experienced is because you like followed your passions in a problematic way. You get so excited about everything, or so, you know, attracted to people, things, whatever it is, that you kind of can make choices that get you into trouble and that make you then have to end up walking away from things. And I think seeing like all these cups here, it's this like, use them too. Like, maybe instead of like letting this be an outside energy, maybe embrace this as an internal energy. And like ask yourself how you feel. Be, you know, tender and gentle with your vulnerable parts. You don't have to share them with anybody else. Get a good therapist if you want. Write in a journal. You know, whatever works for you. Sometimes I video myself on my phone and I just say all kinds of things that I would never say in any other context, and then I delete it. Do what makes sense to you, but I think allow yourself to be emotional, and allow yourself to be surprised by what you feel. Like, I often find that energy with the Page of Cups. It's like, oh, I didn't even know that I felt that way. So if you have been somebody who's like let this fire overtake you, like maybe it's been hard to say, well, how do I feel? You know, I talked about that here. It might be hard to be calm in your body. It might be hard to know how you feel. It might be hard to know what you think because you're feeling very inspired, as it were. So taking that time to ask yourself that, I think, would be really meaningful. I think there's also this sense that just like seeing the Chariot and the Devil here. I mean, I know we talked about like taking the Devil in a positive way, but I think just thinking about it also like in a shadowy type way, I think you know like what your quote unquote weak spots are. And I don't mean weak like to call them weaknesses or like failings, nothing like that. I just mean like we all have things that are easier for us to fall into. I mean, if you put French fries in front of me, I'm going to eat them. I'm going to eat too many of them. I just am. Probably cookies too. Like, and I know that, and I don't think that's like a moral failing on my part. I think it's just like, if I don't wish to be tempted, I'm going to, you know, stay away from the French fries. And if I wish to be tempted, then I will have some. That's what being an adult is about, right? Making these choices. And I think the Chariot, you know, in the Rider-Waite-Smith, there's like the black and the white sphinxes, right? Like pulling the Chariot. And I think that's part of this, right? Is like, you know what these things are. You're aware of that. So as you're moving forward, you're doing so with a whole lot of self-awareness. Sorry, I paused because ADHD, but also because I was like realizing that that's maybe an eclipse and not a sun, which is fine. You can take some eclipse energy into that too. Maybe the fact that I just randomly saw that is meaningful to somebody. So happy eclipse to whoever needed to know that. And maybe the other fact here is you've got the sun and the moon. You've got the light and the dark. You have the ability, even in a moment of passion that's distracting and could lead to problems, you have the ability to pause and ask. You've done the work to get there. So trust yourself. Trust yourself. You absolutely have the ability to do this. The other thing I just want to look at quickly is numbers, whether there's anything important here to see. 2 7s, 2 6s if I count the 15 as a 6, 2 5s, Nothing is standing out in particular, although it's interesting, like 5, 6, 7. That would be, I think, I don't know a ton about the Golden Dawn associations. I know enough to know they irritate me. I think, though, that would be the fixed, like associated with fixed signs. So that's like an interesting thing to think about, is a lot of this energy is like asking you to do the work of, or in work you've already done, right? Of change, of moving towards harmony, of assessing like what caused the problems before. So I think you're in, I mean, I know I said fixed, but like as you've been in the situations that you've been in, which perhaps like weren't doing a lot of quote unquote moving, I bet there was a lot of learning done. I mean, we've talked about that, especially emotionally, but I suspect in other ways too. Just about yourself, right? And so like trust that as you move forward, you have that like fixed energy, fixed knowledge to rely on. At this point, I'm repeating myself. You're the Queen of Pentacles. You are stable. You are solid. You are abundant. You create life. You support life. Your spirit wants you to trust yourself. That's the biggest thing I want to say. Your spirit wants you to trust yourself. It wants you to trust it. It wants you to focus and be determined towards whatever it is that's lighting you up. Because this life is possible for you. And it might seem like a miracle. It might seem like there's no way. Everything has already died. But that's not true. If you work on engaging with this passion in a way that's grounded, in a way that honors your heart, you're going to get whatever it is that you want. Your dreams are going to come true. Trust yourself. That's what your spirit wants you to know. Trust yourself. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to end it there. Pile 1, thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did and you want to like, comment, subscribe, I would love to hear from you. I would love it if you did those things. But regardless, I'm just delighted to have you here. Yeah, I hope that you have a really good day or night. You take really good care of yourself and you remember how much you're loved. Take care. Bye. Hey, Pile 2. If you chose this Labradorite, welcome to your reading. Getting so much good flash from it today. So pretty. Okay. So let's go ahead and get started finding out what your spirit wants to say to you with these pre-shuffled oracle cards. So first we have number 16, the Crow and Dogwood, with the keyword intelligence. And then we've got collaboration. So what does your spirit want to tell you? Okay, I know unrelated. We will come back to this, but when I was first like shuffling and pulling the oracle cards, I didn't look at them, but I was having such a hard time trusting myself on yours, particularly on this intelligence card. Again, I didn't look at it, but I like kept kind of pulling other cards to kind of check with my intuition, like, well, is it this one? Is it this one? And then when I was shuffling just before I started the tarot deck, it was similar. Like I had this like, I don't know if it was like not grounded, but anyway, I wanted to share that message because I think it's related to this pile since I didn't have that experience with the others. And it's also interesting the way it's coming out here. I think the message, I mean, this could be about an external collaboration, of course, but the message I'm getting is like that your spirit is wanting to collaborate with your intelligence. It could be that it's sending you messages through your like quote unquote intelligence, not to suggest that like spiritual intelligence is not that, but I'm wondering if it's like in a more mental sense, like where whatever it is your spirit is trying to tell you, it knows that you're receiving that in a mental, logical, ordered way, through specific verbal information. I shouldn't say verbal, but what it wants articulated through words versus like impulse or instinct or emotion or a bodily sensation or something might be what's going on here. I wonder if there's also just this like perhaps like your intellect sometimes turns away from your spirit, your passion. Like I'm getting this kind of crow is facing this way, and for whatever reason this collaboration thing feels like it's pointing in that direction. I don't know what that is, but anyway, this abstract art here. And that's not bad or wrong. That actually might really serve you at times, right? I think we've all probably known at least one person in our lives who prided themselves on their intellect, but it was so clearly grounded in fire and competition and passion and the need to be right in a problematic way. It could be that you've experienced a lot of that, been wounded by that, these kinds of things. Or maybe for you, it's just for whatever reason, the way they both function in your life, they don't tend to have a lot of overlap. So I'm getting a sense from your spirit that there's a desire to say like, hey, I want to work with you. I want to be your friend. There's something that we can do together that would really be meaningful. Like, I don't think it's just like, hey, let's be friends, although that too. But I think there's like something specific your spirit is drawing you towards, and it's saying like, hey, let's do it together. It could be also that like you are a kind of more spirit or an energetic based person, and so it's saying, hey, pull the intelligence in. Although I was getting that less so, but that could be true. So let's shuffle these tarot cards and see. 4:34 on the timer in case anybody wanted to know that. I really like that number. Okay, we're not doing flyers today, but that's just interesting. There's like a 4 and a 3. So maybe that those numbers are significant, or there's something in that for you. I think of it, in case this is meaningful to someone, I often think of it or see it as like an internal integration between like Emperor and Empress energy, in a way that's really meaningful for me. So anyway, I mean, that could be about external as well, but for me, or just now I felt called to say it specifically on an internal level. Okay. So let's go ahead and lay out the reading, and then we will flip as we go. For going a little bit more in depth about what it is that your spirit wants to communicate to you right now. On the bottom of the deck, we have the Daughter of Wands or Page of Wands, and I typically take this to be the chapter that you've closed to give us context for what's coming here. So this is interesting, like with what I was talking about. I wonder whether you've had a new passion. Yeah, I wonder whether there's been a new passion in your life that you've acknowledged, and now you're trying to do something with it. So your spirit is like, okay, let's rope everybody in. Let's rope in, especially the immense intellect that you have. And I keep looking at this crow. This immense intellect that you have, I think, has this ability to like see things from a bird's eye view, if you will. And this is not necessarily always true, but I think sometimes passion can be very, I was going to say in the moment. It certainly doesn't have to be, but that's how I was thinking of it. And so it's kind of like, what's going on right now in the moment on the ground? Where's the fire? And the crow is kind of flying above and giving more information about that. So I think it is saying like, okay, you have this new passion, and there's something perhaps that you're wanting to do to ground it. And so like using this ability to see more broadly, I don't know, like to plan, to what's the best way to ground this, what other factors do we need to worry about, whatever it is. I mean, even I'm thinking for me, it would be like, what's holding me back from grounding it? Like, what cycles from the past do I need to edit the way I'm thinking about? Look at some subconscious belief patterns, work on them, things like that, in order to ground this together, as it were, to integrate the parts of you to ground this. So this first card is the energy of what you're focused on, what you're manifesting. We've got the Ace of Cups. Super, super, super beautiful. I just saw 747, which I don't have a special meaning to ascribe to that, but if you want to look that up, you can, or if that's a meaningful number to somebody, you can. Anyway, manifesting this self-love, this pouring into yourself, this being made new, for whatever reason, even though I know it's not depicted here, I'm like really, really, really picturing the like spiritual symbols that are on the Rider-Waite-Smith version of this. So I don't know if that's particularly meaningful to you. My like entire Catholic childhood is flashing through my mind. So if that's meaningful to you, by all means, that may be just for me. But I think what it's trying to tell me is there's like this returning to self that you've been focused on. Yeah, like I wonder if this like passion that you're trying to ground is an act of self-love, is something you've dreamed about, or in some sense, since you were a child. It could, of course, be like new love externally. I want to say, and it might also be that, but I want to stay focused on the energy for you, not because that's not important at all, but that's just like, because to me, the broader message here and what your spirit is saying to you is some kind of internal integration. So I'm going to stay focused on that, but please like take those other messages if they matter to you. I think you're seeing your worth, but in this like really deeply spiritual way. This like, oh, like, and I'm sorry if this phrasing is triggering, but like, I'm a child of God. Like I am inherently worthy, as it were. I was chosen, I was made with intention and purpose. I'm sorry if that's uncomfortable. Please feel free to like edit that to be meaningful to you if it is, but I mean it less in a religious sense. I do not practice currently any kind of religious anything in an organized way. Anyway, but what I'm saying about it, right, is this like, if you have this sense that there's like an overarching energy of love in the world, which I do, and I associate that with the word God, like you are born of that, right? And you participate in that. You are an embodiment of that. However you want to look at it, all those things can be true. And you've really been focused on manifesting that, seeing that in yourself, pouring back into you, letting the universe pour into you, others, whatever it is, but really recognizing how precious and worthy, I just want to keep saying like, and pure you are. This is like deep healing that you've been doing, and probably it was dark in the past. I guess we'll see that soon, but right now that just feels like so uplifting and beautiful. Like the energy you're in feels like, my heart feels light. The energy that's coming up that feels like it's in tension with that potentially is this Daughter of Pentacles, and that's so interesting. Is Page of Pentacles. And I say it's so interesting because certainly it's not like a dark energy, right? At all. I wonder if it's more about like the emotion versus the physical. Like what you've been focused on is feeling good about yourself. That is not bad or wrong. Please don't hear it that way. And now you're also having this energy arise within you that is wanting you to ground something. And you're probably a beginner at it in some sense. I just felt the need to say probably less so than you think, but this is the energy that's arising within you. Is this kind of, I'm new, it's play, it's trial, it has the potential to go really far, but right now I'm just kind of seeing where it's at. I'm just kind of trying things out to see what happens. I once heard somebody say this is like I wish I remember who said it. I don't. The Page of Pentacles is like, they imagine like a child playing in a sandbox. The point is, I wonder if either you have, like, it's hard for you to feel the, like, self-love, innocence, reclaiming of your childhood, whatever it is you've been doing in this, like, beginner state. It's hard to know how to express it in this way. Or for some reason, if kind of similar to what I was saying between your passion and your intellect, if for some reason, like, grounding something to the physical feels somehow at odds with your emotional state. But there's something about it that feels like, the feeling I'm getting is it's just a little bit threatening. It's a little bit scary. Because as long as you're, like, in your own heart and you're protected, like, I'm seeing the Queen of Cups with her, like, closed cups. She's protecting her heart. And she's got everything she needs, like, inside of that space. It's not closed off in a problematic way. It's, like, completely open to herself and to the divine, and maybe to, like, a select group of people who she trusts, right? But then grounding something, especially something new, a new passion that maybe is, you know, something that has been meaningful to her for a long time, and I'm just saying her because it says daughter, that's maybe scary, and maybe that feels a little bit threatening to the self-love, and maybe it's bringing up some questioning, some self-doubt, some tension that wasn't there before. In this position of how you are subconsciously trying to integrate these energies, like the seed of how these can be integrated within you, you've got Temperance, which is beautiful. I mean, you've got the water and fire right there, depicted on the card. I don't know if you can hear it, but there's a siren going by, so if that's meaningful to somebody, there you go. I think what's happening for you internally is that you really are balancing these energies. I'm getting this sense that you are also, like, with this fire here, that you're integrating your passion, your fire, your zest for life, your excitement, your enthusiasm. And I keep thinking, like, about some kind of project. So I don't know what that means. When I say project, it could be a creative project, and that could be vocational or career or not. It could also be a relationship. It could also be just a group you participate in. It could be wanting to have a child or another child. It could be anything, right? But something that you're passionate about, that you get energy when you think about, right? And something about grounding that feels scary, but I'm getting the sense that the seed that's growing inside of you is this, like, ability to say, okay, but if I love it enough, if I love me enough, and I love me enough to see that my passions are pointing me towards something that's life-giving for me. So if I love me, then I love my passions. Okay, so if that's true, then, like, me grounding, me taking action from that place of passion, right, is an act of self-love. So I think it's like, okay, even though this feels scary, it doesn't make me less protected. It's actually an act of self-love to ground my passions into the world. So patterns from the past that might feel like it's thwarting this integration process, we've got the Six of Cups. Again, a beautiful card. Why would I see that as tension? It's interesting that it's cups again, though. You've done so much healing. You've done so much healing, and you've been in this safe healing space. Oh, it feels beautiful. I want to hang out with you in there. I mean, I don't want to, like, be in your space. I want you to have that protected space. I just mean, I would like to feel that way too. And I mean, certainly I work on that in my own space, but you know what I mean. It feels wonderful. It feels beautiful. I'm really happy for you, that you have this space, that you've done this work. Again, I think it's like, but there's safety here. All these colors are beneath the earth, right? Like all this life-giving energy. And that's beautiful, and it's safe, and it's important to have this. And I mean, I know in this depiction that's growing externally, but I think it's funny because I initially saw this card as the Emperor because there's a tree like this on the Emperor card. I mean, it takes up the whole thing. I hope I'm not wrong about that. I think that's true. I haven't used this deck in a hot minute. But anyways, but I think there's this like, yes, but I'm keeping all my colors for me. Like, I know I have to be in the external world, but I'm keeping my colors for me. So whether that's like your authenticity, whether that's your weirdness, your cringiness, whatever it is, I mean, I feel it, I get it. It's like on the outside, you're just something expected, right? Like, I don't know, you're part of the establishment, as it were. I mean, I'm not hating or judging, but like, you're growing like a tree is supposed to be growing, but you're so much more exciting than that. And this Daughter of Pentacles has that rainbow here, right? Like you're having this desire, this beginning of grounding something more colorful and more exciting. And it's hard to do that. It's hard to honor that when the patterns you've had are too, probably the thought here is like, in order to protect my heart, I need to pull these colors back inside of me. Maybe that's because in the past you gave them out with a lot of trust, and that's not wrong or bad, but perhaps you were hurt, you know? And I think this is not wrong or bad, right? This was really important for you to do. And I think what's helpful to know about this position and this spread is this is also a skill that you've built. So no matter what happens in the future, you can always go back to that sacred inner space, pull back all those colors, and take care of yourself. Reconnect to your inner child. Give yourself the love that you need. Have this exchange of love and happiness and authenticity with people you know you can deeply trust, right? But right now, be careful, because I think holding these colors in is making it hard for you to ground what you're trying to ground. And I think you know that because what you are intending right now, like the thoughts you're having about this, are that you know you're ready to take a risk. You know you're ready for a new beginning. You know you're ready for new life. I mean, we got the Fool here. It's another major arcana along with Temperance, and it's interesting balanced out here. That was true in the last reading also. And for that matter, when I did practice reading of this spread earlier. Fascinating. Anyway, you're ready for new life. You're ready to take the leap. You're ready to show up. You're ready to show up. And I think if it helps you, right, like two things. One is, in this position, there's an idea that you're being blessed in this, whatever this is. So the universe is on your team here. So with this leap of faith, if you will, you are protected, whatever that means for you. Reminding yourself that this doesn't mean, like, the safety that you built isn't gone. Like, you still have a safe internal sanctuary. Just because you're not staying in it doesn't mean it went away, and you can always come back to it. So you leap out of the nest, as it were, right? To practice flying, but you always can go back to the nest. The nest is inside of your heart, so nobody can mess with it. It's just for you. So I hope that helps, because I think you're already wanting to take this leap, but you're probably feeling some tension, and I think, like, knowing that you can bring this with you is probably really helpful. But the important choice that it's leading you towards is the Ten of Swords. And I think that's to, like, I think what that's representing is you really seeing what I wanted to say, and I don't mean this in a harsh way, but is like the lies you've been telling yourself. And I mean, they're probably coming from parts of you and habits that you've had in the past that were protective and helpful and meaningful at that time, right? But right now you can see them and say, oh, these things are no longer true in my life. The beliefs that I'm holding that are making it hard for me to ground my passion and to like show up with more authenticity outside of my protected spaces, the beliefs that are holding you back from doing that are no longer true. And so with this position, my intention is like, not only is this a choice to act, but it's also like a life-shaping choice. One where you kind of know, like, there's no going back, but in a really good way, right? Like, what you are choosing or what you are building up to choose is to really see these beliefs for what they are and to, you know, move forward into the future, allowing yourself to ground because you're not being held back by this, because you no longer believe that it's problematic, because you no longer believe that there's some way in which like you showing up and trying and being a beginner is like gonna put you at risk. If somebody has a problem with you or criticizes you or whatever, you're like, cool, like I have an inner sanctuary that I can go hang out in and be safe, so you do you. And also, I mean, like, go read what's the poem from Daring Greatly, The Man in the Arena? Like, go read that and then like come talk to me afterwards, right? Like, I don't need to feel bad about my newness and risk taking because it demonstrates incredible courage. And any beliefs that I've been carrying that have told me otherwise, again, they probably protected me when I needed them, but they're no longer protecting me. They're making it hard. So I'm going to choose to see them for what they are and release them. These swords here are also making me think back to this intelligence card. And at least so far in the spread, it hasn't really been... It hasn't been obvious to me the way in which like the initial things I was saying connected. However, what I'm seeing here is this like, kind of similar to what I said I would see this as, is like to have this crow kind of like fly above and see all of these beliefs that I've been holding and like kind of check the circumstance as it stands and say like, are these things true? And I think there's this like call from your spirit to say, let's ask, let's check in. And if this part of you really can look objectively, make this choice and say, wait, these things aren't actually true, that will free you up to ground this passion, which is really beautiful. That's some deep transformation. I know this is like not the death card or something, but to me, like this Ten of Swords is such a strong... The Ten of Swords feels so strong to me. Like closing out a cycle of painful beliefs that have been holding you back is like, I know it looks so sad and it can speak so much of betrayal, but to me it's like, it's such an uplifting card. Because it's freedom from that. It's this like, oh, I see, right? And I can now move forward. So anyway, sorry, I already flipped this card. This is how you're integrating all of this into your kind of next motivation, desire, fire energy moving forward, right? And you've got the World, which, I mean, I think that's so true. I was just speaking about coming full circle and I wasn't even looking at this. You're integrating all of these things into yourself. Like I said, this feels like you must have done so much healing to get here. Like I said, this feels so light, and the Six of Cups feels so light. The Page of Wands feels so good. I bet you did some deep emotional healing. If we went like to the before, you know, cards here, we would get some like death card and stuff like that, the Tower. But I think what this is wanting to tell you is, look, like as you make this choice, you see that these things aren't true. You have this passion, that you're ready to ground, that it's an act of self-love, that you're protected in doing so, that you have this inner sanctuary to make that a safe choice. It's like, oh, okay, I graduated, I did it. And with the World card, that's such a, I mean, it's the last major arcana, right? It is the new life. It is like, not only have you been reborn, but you are now living in that new life. And so that's you. That's like the passion that is driving you moving forward, is you embarking on a completely different life for yourself and letting everybody see your colors without fear, because they just come out naturally. And I just want to say, like, it's such a gift to us all for you to show up with that. That felt really emotional to say, but I think it's really true, is I suspect you don't realize, like, because to do this kind of work, it is so internal. And I can deeply relate to like focusing on this internal work and then being afraid to kind of come out into the world different, right? And to not see the incredible value of the energy of people who have done this kind of work. Like, you can just show up and sit in a room silently and engage barely in a day-to-day basic way, but the energy you carry, the way that you're engaging, when you've done this kind of work, when you have this kind of self-love and self-awareness, it's like, this can change the world. And it's an incredible gift. And I want to say, like, you, in your uniqueness, like, your unique expression of it is intentional and beautiful and an incredible gift. Oh, there's the death card. Okay, then. Fascinating. So the card in this position is often like, what's going on around you? What's going on around you that is feeling like it's taking your attention away from what it is you're trying to do, or who it is that you are, or just kind of thwarting your identity, as it were, in the external. I highly doubt this is speaking about literal death, because in this position there's also this call to like remember that this is not yours. Like, don't take this energy on. So there's that for you if somebody really has died in your immediate vicinity. First of all, God, like, my deepest sympathies, seriously. But I don't think the cards would be asking you to ignore that energy in any sense. So let's assume this is, I mean, people around you who are transforming. I wonder if it's that, like, you in a transformed state are like inspiring ego death or transformation, or like in others or in relationships with others, like that there's transformation around you in your relationships, yeah, or just that other people are inspired to do that or just happen to be doing that. And that's beautiful and important, and like, you can empathize with them all day. But I think there's this, like, two things. One is, you don't need to take this on. You may or may not be feeling inclined to, but if you are, I mean, you care for people, and when you watch them go through intense things, especially if you've been there, you probably are kind of like, oh, I want to like offer that presence. You can, of course, be compassionate, commiserate, but you know, because you've done this, like, this kind of transformation, like, has to be internal. It has to be between a person and themselves, or the divine, or both, or, you know, whatever this is, whatever you believe, you know what I mean? The other thing I want to say is, don't let this convince you that you are also still here. Like, just because a person or people or relationships, you know, that you love, that you're invested in, are in a deep transformational state, it doesn't mean that you are. And you don't have to apologize for that. Like, you don't have to apologize for having already gotten to the place you've gotten to, right? And that's not like a better or worse. Like, we all go through cycles, right? Like, this world card is a circle for a reason. There will be times when you're in a death state about something else, right? Like, and somebody else is in world energy and it's reversed. But right now, don't apologize for having done this. Like, you've accomplished something incredible, and you are in the process of integrating it, and you're like right there. And that's amazing. And you should feel incredibly proud and celebrate yourself for that. Try not to hide that to make other people more comfortable. This next card is kind of like the lesson that you're learning throughout this process, especially in this kind of tension I was just speaking about. And we've got the Tower. You love how I said the Death and the Tower. I did not see these cards. Other people are going through some stuff, and they're doing what you did a while ago. I think the lesson that you're learning here is like, it's okay if things fall. You know that when things have fallen in the past for you, you are now here, which is incredible, right? And so if other things are falling, whether it's relationships, first of all, that could be temporary, so please don't take this in a different way if that does not seem right to you. It could be relationships, it could be jobs, whatever it is. You know what a gift this is. And that's not to minimize how disorienting it is. Take care of yourself. Tower moments are hard. But you've been through it before, so you understand what's happening. And you understand that it is clearing the way for something better. I also wonder whether this is somewhat of a progression where it's like, because of the work that you've done, it is calling for an external transformation, and you're being asked to see that, grieve as you need to, but don't let it stop you from being this new person that you are and showing that. And that might cause some towers. I almost said for other people more than for you, but that's not necessarily true. I actually think, it might be causing tower moments in your life. I don't think you're feeling them in the way that most people describe feeling a tower moment, though. I think probably if you are sitting with yourself quietly right now and you ask yourself, like, is XYZ thing in my life, or maybe multiple things in my life, would somebody else consider it a tower moment? If somebody else looked at my life from the outside right now, would they be like, wow, that's falling apart? The answer might be yes. But I wonder if you perhaps don't feel that way. And I think that's because of the work you've done, yes, but there's some kind of like protection that I feel. Some kind of like, I know I'm like moving into the next thing. So if I need to have more towers to get there, that's okay, because those towers were built on these lies that I was accidentally telling myself, right? Excuse me. You're ready to release. So I think the lesson here for you is that you're ready to release and you're safe to release. Because whatever falls away was aligned with this past stuff. This is based on these lies. And you've graduated past them. So how is all of this likely to manifest? You learn these lessons, you let go of the things. How is this manifesting for you? I love that these crows are talking to each other. It's manifesting in true love between the crows. I don't know why that made me laugh. Maybe it's manifesting in true love. Maybe I said that for a reason. 646 on the timers. I said that in case that's meaningful to anybody. Interesting, like mirrored numbers, but anyway. The way that it's manifesting is wisdom that you'll be able to share. It feels very grounded to me. It feels like you are, like I wonder if this kind of project I've been speaking about is some kind of expression on your part of the wisdom that you've gained. I do feel like your voice, in whatever way this resonates for you, is like going to be incredibly powerful and is going to, in some sense, cause towers for people. But like, that's a gift. Like, I really want to emphasize that. Like, you hold a lot of power and you're aware of that, and you're speaking a lot of really deep, intense truth, right? Like, whatever it is you're trying to ground. A phrase I was thinking about earlier is like, the way that it's going to manifest, the way that you are going to choose to manifest it, is in your ability to speak on behalf of the divine, as it were. The phrase I had in my mind actually was the mouthpiece of God, because a friend playfully told me that that was my title when I was in college, which, I mean, let's not talk about how 20-year-old me did not need that title, but I think they actually meant it in the sense, and I had not grown into this energy at that time, certainly, but I think there was a sense that sometimes when I said certain things that were very inspired, they had kind of the ability to shake somebody, and kind of see through the facade and speak truth. And I don't think, I think still sometimes I don't see that ability for the power that it is. So it looks like you will be grounding a lot more intention and awareness of that skill of yours than perhaps I have. But either way, I keep focusing on this key. There's something about this where I want to say, like, this grounded energy of like you expressing in this way, like this immense wisdom that you've gained, it is like crucial to this next phase for yourself. Like I was talking about, like perhaps more things are going to fall, right? Because you are really choosing to no longer believe these lies, and you are going to choose you and ground whatever it is you're needing to ground and show up with a lot of authenticity. And you're protected in doing that. I mean, we have a lot of major arcana here. You're doing something really life-changing. And what I want to say is, I'm really feeling this grounded energy where this Hierophant card here is saying, by letting these things fall away and choosing yourself and integrating all of this, it's probably hard to see because you've got all this kind of destruction and pain in front of you, that even if you're not feeling it in the way that many people would, it's still distracting. It's still really big things to tend to. What you might not be seeing is how crucial this truth speaking is, this authenticity in your expression is for the next phase of your life, and how much it's going to help you and ground you and bring these new foundations that you need, because everybody needs a foundation. When the tower falls, we need to build something, right? Like a new foundation for ourselves. I'm thinking right now of like building when they rebuild the house at the end of Encanto. And this expression of truth is key to that. So what you will ground is an expression of your authenticity in an incredibly powerful way. And that will take you where you need to go. You might feel, remember when we started, I said, I don't think that you're actually a beginner in the way that you think you are. You're not. You're the Hierophant, but that's neither here nor there. Cherish this energy, because I think there's something really beautiful about somebody with this kind of wisdom who has a spirit of somebody playing in a sandbox. You want to understand that your words have power, but the way that you express this, the times you express it, the like material unfolding of this kind of powerful voice and wisdom, play with what feels right to you. That's okay. You know it's powerful. Maybe that's why it's, kind of hard to ground. Because grounding divine energy is hard. But I think people will hear it and appreciate it. They'll see it for the wisdom that it is. And it will really be instrumental in grounding this next phase. I don't know why this just hit me, that we've got the Fool and the World here, right? You've integrated everything. That's why you're ready to take the next step. This is not some crazy, uncalculated risk. This is like a risk taken because you've already done it all. That's why these things are less scary than they would normally be, right? Because the beliefs you held when you went through them the first time are no longer true for you. So now you can go through them with a completely different mentality. And that's taking you somewhere really powerful. Okay. Before we close out, I just want to take a second and look at the different suits, the different numbers, see if there are any important patterns for us to see here. I mean, first of all, we had lots of major arcana, which I already said. So we had what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All of these cards. So what you need to know, which I think we've already said, basically is that you, like, what's happening right now, what your spirit wants you to know is that you have been made new. And these choices you're making right now that feel maybe small are life-changing. You're not going to recognize yourself. When you look back 1 year from now, 5 years from now, 6 years from now, you're going to be like astonished. I think the you today cannot picture who you're going to be in 5 years. Not because it's not authentic. I think it's incredibly authentic. I think because it's so powerful and so comfortable in your authenticity that it's like, it's hard to even know what that would look or feel like right now. And that's saying something, because I think you're actually very much in an authentic energy. But I think living in a world and having time to adjust and surround yourself with people who support that, and really like showing up and grounding this kind of authenticity and engaging in relationships in this way and letting everything else fall away, but then building this new life, I think it'll be night and day. In the best way. So I think what your spirit wants you to know is like, yeah, this, sorry, I keep repeating it, but I feel like I'm having a hard time articulating it clearly. This energy of this like whisper of a new passion, this whisper of a desire to ground it. I think what your spirit is saying is it's going to change your life completely. It's taking you exactly where you want to go. So listen, even if the whispers are small, listen, ground it, keep pushing through, keep releasing these problematic patterns in the past, because it's key to you unfolding your new life. Really quick, let me look at the other stuff. We've got what, like 2 cups, 1 swords, 1 pentacles, 1 wands. Yeah, that seems right. So nothing really exciting to say about that. Number wise, is there anything we should say? We talked about the beginning and the end here. We had a 10. That reduces to a 4. That reduces to a 7, 5. I don't know how much. That's a 5. So there's some change. Got a 6 here. There's a little bit, but there's not a lot. I think probably change is the biggest thing. These small inklings are going to change your life. We've said that, so the trends we see are just emphasizing that. I guess the last thing I just want to say, group 2, is you're ready. You might not feel ready, but you're so ready. Like, you have done so much work. I want to repeat again, like, anybody is lucky to be in your presence. You're an incredible, incredible gift in your uniqueness, and deserve to be celebrated, and deserve to have that mirrored back to you, and deserve to live whatever life lights you up, and like supports you continuing to ground like this beautiful, beautiful spirit that you have. I just feel really moved. I've been trying not to cry like much of this reading. I feel really moved. Really lucky to get to read this for you. I hope you see that in yourself. I hope you go stand in front of the mirror and say 3 nice things to yourself, as my daughter makes me do when I say self-deprecating things. I hope you realize the power that you hold and the gift that you are. And I don't mean that in a like let people take from you way. I just mean like, wow. Thanks for being here. I'm glad you were created exactly the way that you were. And I'm so thankful for you, for doing the work that you've done. I can't wait to hear what you have to say. Go shake it up. Go change the world. We may not deserve that from you, but you deserve that from you. Yeah. Just thank you for being here. Okay. So pile 2, I'm going to wrap up and stop gushing about how great you are for now. I hope that you enjoyed the reading. If you did and you would like to like, comment, or subscribe, that would be lovely. But regardless, I am just grateful that you are here for this. I would love to see you again if you want to watch another reading in the future. But regardless, I hope you have a wonderful day or night. I hope that you keep taking really good care of yourself, and I hope you know how much you are loved. Take care. Bye. Hey, pile 3. If you chose this piece of green jade, welcome to your reading. Put that up here. It's kind of blending in, but that's whatever it is. All right, let's see what your spirit wants to say to you right now. So we're going to start with these pre-shuffled oracle cards. First, we have 31, the turtle and coriander, with the keyword satisfaction. I just knew the turtle would come out for somebody in this reading. And we've also got this card, life force. Fun fact, in case it amuses you, when I first got this deck, I pulled this card, I don't know if it was the first one, but really early on, and I had it like out on my desk for ages, so I wouldn't use the deck because it was incomplete, because I'm that way sometimes. But it was up there for ages. Yeah, anyway. So it makes me grin, and I'm sorry if that distracts me as I attempt to tap in and talk about what it is that your spirit is wanting to talk to you about today. But we'll try. Hold on, I also have a sweet little turtle that can come out and hang out with us too. Look at this, so much happiness. Okay, I love turtles and I love this card, so everyone's having a good time. I extra love pile 3's cards. Pile 3, what I think your spirit is trying to talk to you about today is your need to feel satisfied in a physical sense. What do I mean by that? I mean that, I will give you an example. The way that my brain is wired, I sometimes forget that I have physical needs. Don't think that's uncommon for those with ADHD, but probably other things as well. But I can get caught up in whatever I'm doing, and if I don't set alarms, I will forget that it's time to eat sometimes. I then have a lack of satisfaction, if you will, physically, right? Because I am in a state of lack or hunger or things like that. That's only one example of this, but I think this like need for physical satisfaction, I mean, everybody needs it to an extent, but you can certainly subsist without like getting to this point of feeling satiated. And the way in which that feeling settles your nervous system, and I think what the cards are saying to you right now, like what your spirit really wants you to know is actually that's like crucial to you maintaining this life force energy. I wonder if, I mean, I don't want to get ahead of myself. We're going to look more deeply with the tarot, but like I can certainly see where for whatever reason in your life, there were places where there was actual lack, whether that was like materially, physically, whether you didn't have enough food or money or support from caregivers, whether it was a lack of love, safety, guidance, you know, whatever it was. But I'm getting this sense that there's something for you at a young age that you did not get something that was crucial for you. And that perhaps because of that, whether or not you're also neurodivergent, you maybe have a hard time like caring for your needs or realizing how much you need, I guess I want to say. Like maybe you don't forget to eat, but maybe like when you do, it's like not with pleasure. You don't eat your favorite things. You know, cater to other people or just eat enough to subsist or to get by. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? Especially when you're busy and you get a lot of other things going on. But I think there's this call to say like, you really seeing your own needs, desires, wants, and satisfying them at least in a way that's reasonable for you, I think that's, the cards are just saying to you, like, you should have had this all along. There's nothing wrong with, like, you wanting to be in a state of being satiated. There's nothing wrong with the way that that soothes and settles your nervous system, you know? I'm thinking of this, like, sense of completion of something. And I know for myself, like, until I've completed something, whatever it is, like, I will feel this kind of antsiness. Again, I think that's related to my neurodivergence, but I think other people can have that same experience regardless. And, like, that's what's coming through, is this kind of, like, I wonder if your nervous system is being a little bit taxed because there's some way in which you're feeling not satiated. Now, this could, I know I'm talking about this physically. This could be intellectually. Like, you could have intellectual curiosity about lots of things, or about a particular thing, or whatever it is that you have not had time to satisfy, or something like that. You didn't think it was important. This could be emotional. Maybe you're not getting the emotional satisfaction that you need. Maybe you need to express. Maybe you need to hear certain things. Maybe you need to foster certain relationships. This could be any number of things, right? It could be many things. Not just many things, like, different for each person listening, but also, like, many things at once for you. But regardless, I think what you're being told is these are things that you need. So taking the time to seek them for yourself and to make sure you feel satisfied. And in this sense, in a really, like, physical, like, nervous system relief way, I think is really crucial for you. Let's find out more about what this is about, and kind of, like, what, like, a bigger pattern in your life this is a part of. I'm very curious, like, what's going on for you here, pile 3. So for pile 3, a message from their spirit. That didn't feel quite right. Now my energy is not settling. Too much talk about snacks. Okay. I'm not a Taurus, but I have a Taurus stellium, and I love a snack. All right. It's funny, for somebody who forgets to eat, as soon as I remember, I'm like, oh my god, where's all the food? Okay. We're just gonna lay this out and flip one card at a time so that I can attempt to stay focused. I will try. On the bottom of the deck, we've got the 6 of Cups. I usually see bottom of the deck as the chapter that is recently closed out, that is giving us context for what is to come here. So I suspect you've, I want to say, been doing some, like, inner child healing work. You've been reconnecting with, I mean, it could be people from your childhood, but I was also thinking of, like, parts of yourself from your childhood, and really rerouting that energy back in. Excuse me. Let's see if we find out more about that as we go. I mean, I know I spoke about childhood here, so certainly this could be kind of like inviting you to, like, you've done this inner child healing, and now, like, this is a way to ground that into your life, like, in a new habitual way. I don't know. Let's see. So this first card is what you are focused on manifesting right now. The Son of Cups, or the Knight of Cups. Right away my thought was about creativity. It could, of course, be about other things, but that was my first thought right away, was about you're trying to manifest some kind of creative endeavor for yourself. That could, of course, be, I mean, the Knight of Cups is often seen as a romantic, so that could be a new relationship, or just more excitement in the relationship you're in. It could be in friendship, it could be, you know, having a child, it could be many things, but, like, I just get the sense that whatever it is, you're, what you're trying to manifest is something dear to your heart, that you really want to see, like, take shape and take form in the world. The energy that feels like it is in tension with this, that is arising for you at this time as well, is the Father or the King of Cups. So interesting, we've got the Knight and the King. This could be somebody external again, but I'm not getting that sense. The goal of these positions, right, is like what is arising within you. Pile number 3. I get the sense that you are, in many ways, you have mastered the cup suit. You know your emotions. You've done deep healing work. Probably this was not the first time you've done deep healing work. I mean, maybe you have like a job as a therapist, as a, you know, social worker. Maybe you, as a healer of some kind. Maybe you are somebody that has taught other people about this, whether formally or informally. Maybe you are the person that others come to learn about themselves in whatever way. I suspect you have a lot of space to hold a lot of like other people's feelings, and I also get the sense that you do the inner work to match that. I think so it could be two things, but I'm wondering if what's happening is you're trying to ground something new and creative and close to your heart, and what's arising for you is this like see, I'm seeing this in two ways. I'm seeing that you could be experiencing it in the like, oh, come on, stop playing around. Like the father being more mature. But I'm also wondering whether there's a part of you that's like, or whether you could be experiencing this as a call to be like, you know that you're not the knight though, right? Like this, like you're trying to ground a creative project and there's this energy arising within you that's like, okay, but you know we have a lot more skill than this, right? Like, are you really showing the fullness of what you know? Like, the full skill that you have? Like, are we really gonna, like, try to show up and, like, people please and, like, hope that people like us? You know, it depends on how you're holding these two energies. I wonder if, because I'm feeling them both, I wonder if you oscillate between those two things. That sometimes you feel like, no, I'm excited about this new thing. Stop telling me to not be in this creative energy. And then other times you're like, I'm really trying to people please, and it's helpful that I'm getting this kind of intervention energy that says like, you don't need to do that. You're not new to this. You have a lot of skills. You've done a lot of work. That's interesting. Okay. The way that you're trying to integrate this within you is the 8 of Swords. Sorry, I'm gonna sip some water for a second. Sorry, I'm like extremely distracted right now. I don't know if you are extremely distracted right now, or if like, let me not blame you for my problems. It's like every little noise is getting to me. It's like hard to settle my nervous system. So I wonder if it's less that you're distracted and more like that's part of the struggle here. And even me feeling like I was oscillating between ways to look at these cards, like I wonder if it's kind of hard to settle your energy, and that's not an insult in any way. It's like it's empathy more than anything. Let me attempt to focus better. The way in which you are attempting to ground and integrate these two energies is the 8 of Swords. I think it's by sort of well, I was gonna say something, but there's a sense, I've heard a lot of people say, in the Rider-Waite-Smith imagery, it's this like idea that this person thinks they're stuck, but they're not. But in this image, like if this butterfly unfurls its wings, like it's gonna get hurt, right? This feels more attacking than this image usually is, and that's interesting to me. I wonder whether what it's saying is right now, whatever creativity you're trying to express, and whatever way like you're responding to yourself with that, when you feel this tension, it's like what's growing within you is like this safe space, like outside of the kind of thoughts that come up around that, for you to just kind of be. And maybe that's what this is. Maybe it's saying like when this tension arises for you, do something to settle your nervous system. Because it's hard to move forward creatively when you're in this kind of tension. Right? So maybe it's saying just like grow that inner, or that inner space is growing for you. I don't know whether this is like, this position is meant to be more subconscious, so I don't know how aware you are of this or not, but I think leaning into this with intention and saying like, I can put my swords down, almost like the Four of Swords, but you're not necessarily waiting for new insight. It's just like, let these things fall away. And I almost want to say like, focus more again like on what soothes your nervous system. That could be beliefs that soothe your nervous system, but it also could be like having a snack, right? And then letting that place of satisfaction, like letting yourself find creative inspiration again in a way that doesn't get into this, like, I want to say like worry about how it's going to be received. Patterns in the past that could be thwarting this. We've got judgment. You're really ready. Like, I don't want you to hear this as me saying that you're not ready, because seeing judgment in a past position, like, this is rebirth, right? Like, this is like you being like, oh, I'm incredible. I have something to share. I'm, and I want to say, like, I know, like, the divine is on my side, right? And so, like, knowing that, you might be like, wait, why do I have to hide, though, in my cocoon again? Surely, like, I've done the work to not let any of these swords hurt me. And I think perhaps this is a reminder that, like, yeah, you are ready. That doesn't mean you don't have moments. We all have moments. Some days are harder than others. Some moments are harder than others, right? Like, it's okay to build this skill of this safe cocoon space for when you're having a hard time. Like, just because you're ready and you're new and you have something that you're wanting to birth into the world, doesn't mean it won't be hard. And if it is hard, it doesn't mean you're not new, right? Like, yeah, you're there. And I bet everything I've said about this healing, you're like, yeah, I know. And like, respect, I get it. But I think what your spirit is saying is, if you want us to be able to harness this amazing life force that we have, this like powerful new beginning for ourselves, we might need to kind of go back to the basics a little bit and like remember that sometimes we can just be, and we can just lay in bed, have a snack, watch a TV show, snuggle with our dog, whatever it is, and like restore our baseline so that we can then like come back to our creativity without this stuff. And like sometimes there's deep healing to do, but I think again, like seeing this in the past position, like you've done a lot of that. And I'm not saying there's not more, there's always healing to do, right? But like I think there's also this like thought that perhaps some of what's going on here is it's more about building new habits than it is about doing deep healing. You've done a lot of that work. You've been reborn, right? And so like now you're just grounding that in your habits. And I think something that will really help you with that is not thinking so much and settling your body down. And for some reason, I just wanted to add, I don't mean somatic work either, like therapeutic somatic work. I mean, you can, if that's meaningful to you. But I don't really mean that. I don't mean yoga, and I don't mean meditation, or like something that would be like, again, like work in some sense. And I mean, I'm not, feel about all of that however you feel about that. But I mean like pleasure. Like I mean like the kind of satisfaction you have after you have an amazing meal, after you have a really nice nap. You know, like the way you feel when you settle into a hot tub and you're like, everything is okay. I don't have anything to do right now. Like the vacation, after you've packed and you've traveled and everything else, and you get there and you put down your suitcase and you go and you're like, okay, now I can relax. That's how I want you to feel. That's what I'm talking about. Perhaps you're so expert at healing, and obviously you've done a lot of work on yourself in all kinds of ways, and these cards are honoring that, and they're asking you to like take care of yourself, your body, find some pleasure. Yeah. Okay, anyway, back to the card I had flipped here. This card is the kind of more intentional, like how are you trying to handle this, like how are you kind of fighting back, as it were, against past patterns. And you got the 8 of Cups. It's funny, we got 8 here. There's a walking away from problematic emotions. Sure, but again, I guess I would say, well, yeah, and when you get to the top of the mountain, away from these emotions, like, please, like, relax in the hot tub. Wow, that image is really doing it for me right now. I want to go relax in the hot tub, but I will not. Anyway, I think also, I'm not saying don't do this. I mean, this is like a helpful card, and in fact, the intention of this position is also that this is a blessing, right? So it is a blessing that you are seeing clearly the emotional patterns that are causing you problems. So let's say that sometimes this is like a people-pleasing energy. I think you very quickly see it for what it is. And then you're like, nope, we're not doing that. Gotta walk away from that. So I don't think this is saying don't do that. I think it's actually saying that like you're being very supported in that process. But I think it's also saying don't let this fool you into thinking that you haven't done all of the work that you have. You've already reached the 9 of Cups. You're welcome to continue to do this when you're feeling these moments. But don't get stuck here and say, like, oh man, I'm like still in this 8 of Swords, like 8 of Cups energy. Like I thought I'd progressed past this. You have. You've mastered the cup suit. You've got your wish fulfillment. You know what I mean? Like, maybe you don't have it, I don't mean, but like your emotions, like I bet you can get yourself into a really, really, really beautiful place with your emotions. Because this is such an obvious skill for you. But please don't forget that like how far you've come. And I guess I keep referring to it in this way. For those who are not as familiar with tarot, right? Like this is card 20 out of 21. Like this is right before the world, right before the conclusion. This is the energy of you being reborn, remade anew. This is this deep, deep, deep self-acceptance and integration, right? This is this like, oh, I see that I'm loved, that I'm cherished by me, by the divine, exactly as I am. I'm saved from the demons, as it were. And yes, I am absolutely referencing K-pop demon hunters when I say that. Like, I don't have to listen to these swords. You know what I mean? Like, the demons cannot hurt me. And like, that's a skill that's coming from the past. Like, that you've already mastered. So yes, do these things you know how to do, but don't let them convince you that you're not already, that you haven't already developed this skill, that you're not reborn. And I think a way to do that is to teach your body this, right? Because maybe mentally and emotionally you know, but maybe your body needs to be like taught that it's safe, that it's whole, that it has everything it needs, you know? The choice that you are making to integrate all of this is the Ace of Pentacles. That's beautiful. Sorry, I'm drinking more water. I cannot help but see like the resonance between the colors and the images there. The choice before you, and my intention with this position is like this is a life-shaping choice. The choice before you is to start something new and grounded. So when I initially was talking about a creative project and stuff, I bet there is something that you're trying to ground. And maybe you're having some problems with it, and that's okay. That doesn't mean you're not ready to do it, right? Maybe you're having to rely on some skills you built in the past. That doesn't mean that you're not ready to do it. You are. I think because it's Pentacles, I think what your spirit wants you to know is that for it to flourish, for it to be clear, for it to come from a place of love and not fear. Which that's like how I take this, right? Like this is love exploding from you in a good way. You are radiating love. And that's because you have, as it were, conquered fear. And I actually mean that with love. I hang out with my fear and pet it sometimes. And I have deep compassion for it and where it comes from. So I'm not saying actually like vanquish it. Listen. Integrate it. Right? Let it hang out. And reside in love, right? I'm not gonna do a whole thing because you already know and you could probably teach me more than I could teach you. The choice you're being presented with is, will you start a life physically based on that, based on love and not fear? Will you treat your body from a place of love and not fear? Will you train it to believe that you've been made new? And that whatever you're doing deserves to be seen, that you deserve to be, right? Like, I know I was talking about a creative project, but like this could be just about you, like in the way you treat your physical self. Because I bet you've made a lot of effort to treat yourself intellectually, spiritually, emotionally really well. And maybe it's time to treat your body really well too. I'm not going to go into that or preach on that because that's a struggle that I have for sure. So let me not project that onto you if that's not true for you. But I think basically it's saying like I would like to ground a life based in love, creativity, authentic expression, all these things. This newness that I've found, I want to ground it. And I think that's the choice that you're making. Yes. Okay. And so like the way you are incorporating this into your identity, the way that your spirit is now going to take this and direct it is the Emperor. You are the Emperor. You are in charge of your choices. You are grounded in this. You are stable in this. You are taking responsibility for you, for your life in every level, through all four of the suits, through all aspects of life, right? And there might have been times at which that sounded really intimidating and overwhelming. And I think right now it just feels exciting and empowering. I just saw 28 on the timer, by the way. If you choose this new beginning based on love, you are going to ground it. That's beautiful. The energy around you that might feel like it's sort of thwarting you. I suspect you have other responsibilities beyond whatever it is you're trying to ground here, beyond just taking care of your body. Many of us do. That could be children, that could be a job, that could be a partner, that could be friends, that could be other activities. It could be many of those things at once. I think what this is telling you is not to ignore all of those other needs, but to not let those other needs that are coming up eclipse whatever it is that you've decided you've built for yourself, whatever it is that you are in process of building and grounding. Do not let it eclipse your needs, especially your physical needs. For example, if you're a parent, Like, I am a single mom, right? And so for me, I can have moments where it is hard for me to even realize, I mean, again, ADHD, as I've mentioned, perhaps, but I don't think it's just that. I think many, many moms feel this way. When my kiddo needs something, it's like I don't even notice in my brain that I also need things. Sometimes I do, please believe. But sometimes I don't, right? And I think what this is asking you to see is that it's okay, you can balance both, but please don't let these other needs, this other busyness, distract you from whatever it is you're trying to ground. Distract you from this new stable foundation. And I keep saying it as if it's an external thing. I suspect that it is, but it could just be you. Like I said about this Ace of Pentacles, this could just be your treatment of yourself. So if you're worrying about your kid, right, or you're worrying about your job and you get busy, don't let that make you forget that you deserve to feel pleasure, to feel satisfaction, to feel your nervous system soothed, to get a massage. I mean even literally from your friend, like, or partner or whatever. Although by all means splurge if you wish. But I guess that wasn't the point. Is just like things that make your body feel soothed, nourished, satisfied, right? You can do both, I guess is what I want to say. The lesson you're learning here is the Son of Wands, Knight of Wands, right? The lesson you're learning, I want to say, is that your desire matters, that your life force matters. I know that's not necessarily the traditional meaning of the Knight of Wands, and if it's meaningful to you to think of it differently, by all means, but I can't help but see again, like, those colors are repeating here, for that matter, on this Emperor card. Your fire matters, your life force matters, even if only for you. Whatever it is you're desiring, whatever it is you want to move towards, it's meaningful. And building a life, building whatever this is, a family, a job, again, just your body, like caring for your body, it doesn't matter. I mean, it absolutely matters to you. I just mean it could be different for everyone. The fact that doing this supports your life force, like your spirit is saying, like, yeah, and supporting your life force matters. You matter. And I don't mean to make light of whatever happened to you as a child at all, because I was kind of about to say, like, it doesn't matter what you were taught. This is nonsense. And I don't mean to make light of that. I bet that was a lot of pain, but I bet you've done a lot of work around that. And I think, again, that's why I said, like, this is not me asking you to do deep shadow work or deep psychological work. This is me asking you to have a new habit physically, or make new choices physically, or build a new foundation for yourself physically that enables you to go get, to feel lit up, to go get whatever it is that you want, and to feel excited. And if you, like me, are like listening to this and thinking like, a hot tub sounds really nice and really relaxing, and you're like, you know what? I could sit here and say, well, I don't have a hot tub handy. Or I could say, well, okay, can I like plan my next getaway around a hot tub? Do I know where I could find a hot tub somewhere nearby? Is that a reasonable thing for me to afford a way to get to, or whatever it is? But like, to say, like, there are ways that I can follow my passions and indulge or feel pleasure, find satisfaction, whatever it is, and that's not bad, and it's not wrong, and I can listen to myself. And so I think this lesson here for you is that, like, your passion is telling you something, and it's important, it's vital. Just because somebody once told you it wasn't, or you were made to feel that it wasn't, or the kind of the water you were swimming in indicated to you that it wasn't, doesn't make it true. You matter. Your desires, your preferences, your wants, your needs, they matter. It doesn't matter if nobody else around you sees that, especially if you have kiddos. My kiddo is an extra sensitive, very empathic kiddo, but she doesn't always see what I need because she's a kid, right? Like, that's normal. That's not her job. But you can see it, and you can learn, and you can be in this energy of trying things out and figuring out what it is that you need, what it is that satisfies you, what it is that sustains you, right? Okay. And then this card is meant to be, what is this grounding for you? And we got the Five of Cups, which is traditionally such a sad card. Why do we have the Five of Cups here for what you're grounding through this process? Because this feels really beautiful and uplifting. Yeah, totally. I know it's not reversed, but I don't take reversals. I have my decks all upright because I'm specific like that. It stresses me out to see them reversed because I'm insane. No, I will not insult my brain like that because I'm special. And I honor and respect my needs as best I can. I'm seeing this in a reversal. I'm seeing this as this horse is looking towards, you know, in the Rider-Waite-Smith imagery, 3 cups are spilled and there are 2 behind. So when this person is done mourning, they can turn around and see them. I'm actually seeing it that way. So I'm seeing that like this horse is like looking at where those 2 cups would be on the Rider-Waite-Smith image. I'm kind of tempted to pull it out, but I don't want to waste your time. What you are grounding by doing this is love. And that could be romantic love. I mean, I'm thinking of the 2 cups I was talking about there. It could be the grounding of the healing that you've done. I also feel like a little bit the horse is like looking back at this 6. So it's like this chapter of healing is closed and now like that's being grounded. It's being mirrored in the way that you treat yourself, perhaps. And I also want to say, when we treat ourselves, especially like our bodies, right, like externally in a certain way, we invite that same kind of treatment from others. And so I suspect that part of why I'm seeing those kind of 2 cups is there's a mirroring there. So what you are grounding is relationships, situations, like love returned, basically. So you won't be so much in this like walking away from emotions that are causing you pain energy. You'll be like looking towards those 2 cups. And I keep thinking also, like there's also like a house in the distance. There's kind of a path, like once you turn around, there's like a path to get, like a winding road to get to a house. And I'm thinking of like home, in all of the ways we could mean that. So like what you're also grounding is home. People that feel like home, relationships that feel like home, a job that feels like home, literally a house. Any and all of the above. But I just feel like the world externally is mirroring the internal work that you've done. Because when you build this foundation, again, in whatever way, on whatever scale, but when you build this foundation for yourself, when you take this kind of accountability for your full, external, embodied human existence, and you ground it in love, the world cannot help but bring you opportunities, experiences, relationships, whatever it is that mirror that. And I'm not saying you're going to win the lottery tomorrow and, you know, a prince will propose and etc., etc. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is you will have your heart's desires fulfilled. That will be grounded for you because you are grounding the love that you have for yourself. And that's beautiful. Pile 3. Before I end, I'm just going to take a quick look at suits, at numbers, see whether there's anything else we can add with any patterns here. I know I mentioned there were 2 8s. Got a couple of 2s. I do feel like there's mirroring. I feel like the most important message, though, is a message of abundance. And take that in whatever way you want to. But I think it might be important to ask yourself, like, what does abundance feel like? And how can I feel like that right now? Whether or not I have, quote unquote, the money, the relationship, the house, whatever it is. Because feelings we can access at any time, right? And that doesn't mean, like, you shouldn't want things. Please want things. The lesson you're learning is to want things. Please do that. Do that. Want the things. Want all the things. And I think the way to draw the things to yourself is to practice being in that energy. And of course you can do that through visualization, but I think there's also a message here that says, or that is saying, like, I think what your spirit is saying to you is, in order to really lean into this and to have clarity about our desires and have the energy to go after our desires, we want to teach our body that we're abundant now. You know, that we can be satisfied and we can feel pleasure. Our nervous system can feel soothed and at rest and at peace now. We don't always have to be working, healing, hiding, growing. We did that. We did that. We're ready to start anew. So yeah, I think this message of abundance is here for you. I think there's a message here of choosing that, intending that. And I think there's a message of grounding that. Anything else? Like 1, 2, 3, 4 cups, 5 cups. So it's a lot about emotions, obviously, which we've already spoken to. You have that skill. Absolutely. You have that skill. Know that. And I think, if anything, use that as a foundation to lean into the other aspects of yourself, your mind, your passion, your spirit, but especially your body. You're not going to lose the skills that you have, So lean into your material expression, creation, physical well-being. Again, any or all of those things. Because you have everything you need and what you want is coming. Yeah. Take care of yourself in the way you would like to be taken care of. And I think you will see the world rise to meet you in ways that might really surprise you. Yeah. Okay. Pile 3. I think I'm going to end it there. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for letting me read for you. If you enjoyed this and you would like to, you are welcome to like, comment, subscribe. I would love to hear from you. I would love to see you again. But regardless, I'm just very happy that you're here now. I hope this was meaningful to you. I hope that you have a wonderful day or night. I hope that you keep taking care of yourself, and I hope that you remember how loved you are and how cherished. I hope to see you again soon, Pile 3. Take care.